Well, hello there again, friends and family, and as you can see, we're out in Alice again, and it's a beautiful day in my neighborhood here in the deep south of Alabama. As you can see, we've got bright blue clear skies. It's about 67 degrees. Yep. We got to make it up this hill, and we got quite a bit of wind today. It's been a windy and gusty day. Anywhere from 11 to 15 steady to 30 to 35 gusts. Yep. Yesterday, it was much the same. And we had some violent storms come through. Tuesday night and early through the Wednesday morning. And there was a lot of wind damage through many states. And even some tornadoes too. Fortunately for us, we didn't have any tornadoes. But with the winds, which got even higher then, yep, some, dead trees, larger dead limbs came down. And people lost power. But we didn't lose ours. We came through it just fine. And I know many of y'all worry about the little old man when the severe weather starts rolling through. As I do too, worry about many of you now. But since I've been working rather hard on the property the last few days, and because of the rain, we had to shut it all down, and I didn't get as far as I would like. But sometimes as we get older, we forget we're not youngins anymore. And we push ourselves to the point that, there comes a day when we just got to rest, whether we want to or not. The body just can't go multiple days in a row pushing like that. And I'll be first to admit, yep, I forget I'm not 30 years old anymore. So I didn't feel like doing much today. I need to recuperate, regenerate, as they say. So I thought, we haven't been out on a countryside ride in the deep south of Alabama since January the 11th, which was still during our hard winter time. Temperatures were bitterly cold, and not a thing was alive. But now all the trees are all leafed out. We're starting to get to the end, I hope, of our high pollen count. The pine trees are done blossoming. The oaks have finished up. They're dropping their catkins. We still got the pecans to go, but all the flowering trees are done finished up. The invasive Bradford pear, the privet. The azaleas are still hanging in there, as you can see off to the right. Maybe we'll see a little more color today. Of course, we're seeing a lot of that bright green all around us. The grass is all greening up, and life is good in my neighborhood, and I hope it's good wherever you might be. So I thought, I know many of you no longer get out as much as you would like. Some of you can't get out anymore, and you enjoy these ride-abouts where I ramble on sometimes and talk about things that I never planned but just seem to come up. There's more azaleas right there to the right. Simply stunning and so beautiful. The pecans are just starting to bud out. They're late. They're the last trees, around these parts anyway, to start budding out. And they too will have blossoms, because that's what makes the pecan nuts, or pecans, depending on where you're from. And yep, there on the right, the world famous superfoods. Let's check. Do they got the plants out yet? Oh joy, they do. they got the plant starts out, so you know what we're going to have to do. Yep, we'll have to go to Superfoods. Because that's one thing about it. They got the best prices for plant starts in this area. And I know. And I'll hear, oh, I plant everything by seed. Well, there have been so many years of my life, I have too. But I don't know why here of late, I always seem to forget, and it gets too late. And if I went ahead and planted seed now, I wouldn't even be getting plants in until around mid-June or 1st of July. So I'm going to buy me some. No more than I'm buying. It'll be just fine. But we're just taking a little ride to see what early spring-like time looks like here in the deep south of Alabama. Oh, there's a dogwood on the left, blooming. It's rather nice. But we're not in any hurry, and I know that'll frustrate some drivers. And I just want to make a little loop. I'm going up here by a place that I haven't been to since 2019. And I know it's still in business. And it's one I took you to in 2019. I think it was August of that year. And when we get there, I'll point it out. And of course, if you'd like to go back in again and check it out, you have to let me know in the comments below the video. And if there's enough interest, I can do that for all of you. Did you see that wisteria to the left? Yep, it's still blooming. And boy, it's a mess. So yeah, we've had high pollen counts, way up there to extreme. Alice is covered in yellow even now as we ride along. All the native plum is already bloomed and setting fruit. Life's moving on. You wouldn't even know that catastrophe, disaster, and apocalypse is about to happen at any second, according to some. Oh yeah, I saw some crocuses over there on the right as well. I guess they were crocuses. Anyway, that's what they look like to me. And many people up here have pecans in the yard. There's some there on the right. And you'll see them, they're the ones that haven't leafed out yet, because the oaks are fully leaved. This used to be a real intense growing area for pecan groves and orchards, or whatever they're called. I think they're called groves. There's a nice fine field of clover and rye. It looks like mustard on the right. But we're going to get out here rather rural. And like I say, we're going to check a world famous place too. And if you'd like to see that video that I took in 2019 when we visited it, once I tell you about it, it'll be listed in the description below the video. Oh, look at those. I'm not sure what those are. What are those, hydrangeas? I don't know, but they were beautiful. And I got two cars following me, like, you know, they're ready to pass. You know, they're probably trying to play NASCAR. Right on my butt. Almost slipped up there, ladies. Hey, if you need a mobile home, go by Friendly Towson Mobile Homes. And there's Elmer's. They're rather famous too. For their meat and three, which is what we do here in the South. Get your choice of meats and 3 sides for one price. Maybe you have those type of restaurants too. Yeah, it's just a peaceful countryside ride. Check out, you know, life's going on all around you. And if you still can get out and take a ride too, I would suggest you do that. Leave the radio off, shut your phones off. Just listen to the wind, the breeze, and the whirl of the tires, and the whine of the motor as you ride along. Now we're coming up to Liberty City, which used to be Pecan Central for this neck of the woods. It's where Tommy King Pecan Company is. And there used to be so many more. In fact, this whole town was nothing but sitting in a grove of pecan trees. But you're seeing many of them in the yards on the left and the right. Like I say, they're the ones that don't have hardly any leaves on them. Yeah. And they got what used to be a little general store here. It was the only grocery store up this way. Now it's more or less a convenience store. But they too cook some fresh food from time to time. Biscuits in the morning, of all kinds. And then they got fried chicken and of course chicken tenders and potato wedges and what have you. Look there, there's somebody out enjoying this wonderful springtime day on their track. There's Tommy King Pecan. But it's just quiet up here, very rural. Not too many folks, except here along the main road. And right there we got our own winery, Whippoorwill Vineyards. It too is quite famous. You can look it up. Then we just passed King Brothers Pecan Company. I think between Tommy King and King Brothers, they're the last of the two. And you can see there's a nice pecan grove right there on the right. There was one on the left too, right before we came to the one on the right. So if I want pecans or pecans, I know where to go. But we'll be turning up here in a minute, getting off of State Highway US 14, which is a pleasant ride, I might say. And we're going to go more rural, as they say. See, we into those rolling hills now. Sort of like a roller coaster. Now I always get turned around up here, because I don't come up here that often. You know? Sometimes I think I haven't gone far enough. Other times I think I've gone too far. But this time I hadn't gone far enough, because there's junction 39. And that's just what we're looking for. So we'll be taking a ride. I'm sure the people behind me are just thrilled. Hey, there's somebody got a greenhouse. 2 of them in their backyard. They're probably doing some of that homesteading. What do you think? Or maybe they're just trying to grow all their food so they can be as healthy as can be. And if they are, I'm glad for them. Because if you got the time, the money, the knowledge, and the skill, that's exactly what you should be doing. If you want to. But now we're heading off. We were heading east. Now we're heading south. Just on a little old county road. We're not going to be going that far on it before we turn and head back north. We'll be heading back west. I'm going south now. So we'll be making a right and going west. probably into the sun, and I apologize for that. Can you hear that wind gusting up? If not, you can see it in the trees. Poor little old Alice, she don't like the wind. But she does like to run. And there's not much you can do anymore for a few bucks that's as relaxing and enjoyable as just taking a short ride. I can do this ride for about $3. Can't go to a movie for $3. I can't even stream a movie for $3. Well, not a new one anyway. But when all of y'all aren't crowded all in the car like you are now, and there's some chitter chatter in the back seat, and of course in the rumble seat in the trunk, you know, arguing about who's poking who and who's sitting on who and whose turn is it to ride shotgun. Yep, it's normally rather peaceful. Just me and Alice and our thoughts. And there it is, right there. Yep, that's what I was talking about. Carmack's Grocery. And as you can see, it's out here in the middle of God's nowhere. Imagine that. And what is it famous for? Well, it's famous for its meats. Because it was started by a family of butchers. And it's still run by them. And it's pretty much family run. And it is family owned. But yep, when you want quality meats of the highest quality at some of the cheapest prices for about 100 miles around, yep, people know. And people will throw their coolers in cars and they'll drive all the way to Carmack's, because that's how good it is. When I need to stock up, which I don't need to and haven't in a long while, Carmack's will be one of the places that I'll definitely check out. Not only that, they'll cut anything you want to any size you want. But it's better to call ahead. Put your order in. There's no extra charge, or at least there didn't used to be. And see, people got little farms out here now. We used to call them mini farms. Now, you know, they call them homesteads. You see, they used to be homesteads, then they became mini farms in the 80s and 90s. And then in 2000 and beyond, they became homesteads again. It's amazing how things, you know, sort of recycle or go around that full circle, as they say. Yeah, that wind's pretty gusty out there. But that's why I'm not out currently working in the yard. It's chilly, it's windy, and I'm tired. But the pastures are starting to green up. I always like to see that this time of year. And hopefully we'll have adequate rainfall. Because since about 2018, or no, I guess it was 2017, we've been pretty much in either a moderate to severe to extreme drought every year. So maybe this year will be where we'll get the rainfall we need and everything will be just fine. Wouldn't that be just dandy, as that we used to say? We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, Alice, she does a fine job out here on these little country roads. I get her up on the super slab, you know, the interstates. She gets a little frightened when the big trucks come by. You know, on Good Friday we spent the day with my son, my grandson, and his family over there at his place in southeast Montgomery. It takes me about 55 minutes to get there through some of the worst traffic and worst driving conditions you can find in the state of Alabama. It's not a pleasurable trip until you get there. Right through the center of Montgomery. One traffic light at a time. And they seem just to be endless. And I don't know if you can see it. We're going to just pull in right here. You see that right there? That's a little old country store. Or at least it used to be. And there'd be a couple of gas pumps out here. Almost all of them are gone now. I don't even know of one of the little country stores that's really open as a general country store anymore. Yeah, we got the Liberty City store there, but like I say, it's got some things, but it's mostly a convenience store with convenience store prices. Now at one time back in the day, probably back in the 80s and before, it definitely used to be a grocery store. Bobby Knowles had it. Yep. Bobby Knowles and his brother. Can't remember his brother's name. That was their store. And it was a general grocery store for the community. That's all they had. Till you came all the way down to Tallahassee back then. Of course, you know, back before in the 60s and earlier, all this Tallahassee had was the mill stores. So there was that. Nope, didn't have no Winn-Dixie, no Piggly Wiggly, no Superfoods. Superfoods' original location didn't open up to 1967. So there's that. We've just made a little loop. And we're coming back around to 14. Which is right here, the way we came in. I just really wanted to check on Carmack's because I'd like to plan a trip. If enough of you want to go and you won't act up. It's a little small grocery store, but it's got everything you need. And it's got plenty of meats. If you don't believe me, watch that older video from 2019. If at least nothing else, you'll be shocked at the prices you will see. Sometimes we need to remember how it used to be before we let all this happen, which is nothing but corporate greed. And yeah, I'll just say it right now. Those in office have just sat back and allowed it to happen on both fronts. And that's enough about that. But no, I didn't want to take a long ride. Otherwise, I'll get talking about things I shouldn't. I just wanted to do a little bit of relaxing. A little bit of thinking. And of course, like always, you don't get to see it all. Nope. Oh, Mr. Tom's got to have some private time. So at some point in time, I may drop y'all off. back at the house where you can catch a snack and a cold drink, and I'll continue on all by myself. But through the magic of YouTube, you'll never know. But I do like sharing my time with now all of you, my friends and family, many of which I've got to know through the comments below the videos. And I always look forward to seeing you pop up. And I worry about you when I don't see you for a while, because I know many of us aren't spring chickens anymore. Nope, we're not. Some of us do better, and some of us do worse. But we're all getting through it together. That's all we can do. Now, if you need a little portable shed, there's the place to get it. They make them right there. And there's a daycare right there. It used to be an HVAC contractor, but apparently they went out of business, and now it's a daycare. I mean, just look at the green. Look at that grass. And for some reason, maybe it's my imagination, but I can smell that grass coming through the ventilation in Alice too. I always like this section of road. It's a little windy, a little curvy. Goes up and down. About as close to a roller coaster as I get to these days, riding around on these twisting, curvy country roads. It's enough excitement for me. But sometimes we gotta let go of our troubles, our problems, and our stress. And in my mind, there's many ways to do that. I let it go when I'm working in the yard, on the gardens and plantings. But even that comes with its own level of stress. Not so much mental as physical. But there's one place I can go where there's no physical stress and no mental stress to amount to anything. And that's to get in the car and take a ride in the countryside. And I'll be honest, except for the times when all of y'all come along, I don't even turn on the radio. I'll roll me down that window, let the wind blow in my face, listen to the wind, the whine of the tires, and the motor, and just let my mind drift. You know, sort of like this time of year, it's time to clean out our filters, you know, for our HVAC systems, air conditioning, and what have you. Well, it's this time of year in the spring that we need to clean out the filters of our mind to sort of find that reset to begin a whole new year and make everything all new again, as nature is right now too. Ooh, did you see that red crimson clover coming up there on the sides of our roads? Yep, Alabama plants that. Yep, Alabama Department of Transportation. They plant red clover and rye on the sides of the road to make them all nice, lovely and green. Well, we're heading on back to the house, and it won't be long now. There's some more of that red clover on the right. There's one thing about this wind that's really helping us out, and that's it keeps that pollen cleared out. In fact, with the winds coming out of the west, heading to the east, they're taking our pollen and sending it to Georgia and the Carolinas. Of course, I think Alabama's getting Louisiana's and Mississippi's, and Texas's pollen. So, you know, it's just an ongoing cycle. But it does keep the air cleared out more than it would be if the wind wasn't here. And for that, I'm thankful. Because I don't know about you, the pollen really messes with me this time of year. In fact, my whole son's family, from him to my grandson to their 2 other children and his wife, they've all had, you know, the watery eyes, the itchy throats, the sneezing, yeah, runny noses, all of that. It's this time of year we keep those allergy medication makers in business. Even I take some too. Of course, you add on the top of that mowing grass, which is all pollen laden too, from the pollen from the trees falling in and coating it. And that pollen, once it grabs a hold of something, it don't let loose. Things are really looking up and looking nice for this year. And I don't get into, you know, there's going to be apocalypse tomorrow and all that stuff. I guess I finally learned that there have been people saying that every day of every year I've been alive. And somehow the world as a whole comes through it in the end. I believe some now believe that's being a normie. Yeah, I think that's what they do. They got to call you a name when you don't agree. That's okay. I'm older than most of them. I've been through a lot. And I'm still here, and so is my world. And I'm thinking all of us will be here for a while longer. Yes, we will. But that's just my thoughts. And at least that's one thing I can still have in America. My very own thoughts. They can't take that away. Woo, that wind is brisk. Especially when you get out here in these open areas. It wants to push Alice all around. But she's hanging in there. And you can see overall why I like to come out on these country roads. There hasn't been that much traffic, has it? And it's about 3:40 in the afternoon. Many people are getting off work. School buses should be running, and what have you. In fact, as I talk, there's a school bus right there. That's Tallapoosa County. Most likely a real town bus. Woo, you see that snake sign? 35 miles an hour. That's because this road gets wiggly and jiggly up here. You know, when the kids were little and we'd hit these curves, of course I wouldn't be taking them at, you know, anything but the speed limit, but we'd just make a good time out. We'd go wee, woo, hang on, hold on, as we ease on through. And they'd giggle and laugh and have a good time as they stared out the window and watched the scenery fly by. It amazes me. Well, just the little things that kept us happy when we were little and young. You know, we could have a ball with a ball. Now you give a kid a ball, he'll just look at you like, what's this? You stupid? Might play with it for about 10 seconds and just look at you. I've experienced this of late with some other young kids. Yep, the ball just doesn't bring the excitement it did when we were young. I remember spending hours upon hours just playing catch, a baseball and 2 gloves. Sometimes we didn't even have the 2 gloves. But those were the good times. Or if we only had one of those little rubber balls, we'd play dodgeball. Y'all remember that? Of course, you'd always have one person. You know, the one that had to be the turd in the punch bowl that had to throw it so hard he'd knock you down. Yeah. There would always be one of them. The rest of us, you know, we didn't try to burn it on in there. It's a game. And then we had hide and seek, red light, green light, all kinds of stuff. And my kids, when they were young, we'd play those too. But it's hard to get kids nowadays interested in those now. I've tried. When they're wee ones, they can get into it. But if they ever get hold of one of them phones, you're doomed. I think life changes immediately once you give them that phone. I know it does. And in my mind, it's a detriment to all of us. Well, we're back at the house. That didn't take long. But for those of you who enjoy it, and I hope many of y'all did, and I actually appreciate y'all coming along, well, you're more than welcome to come on in for a sec and chat. But then I've got to get supper going on. Yep, I've got to be making some supper. Because no matter how hard you work, and how long the day is, you still got to eat, right? Yes, you do. Now we're going to try to back on in here without hitting anything. I think we did just fine. Well, there, folks, you have it. Just a countryside ride and a talk about. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it wasn't much, but I enjoyed it. And maybe we can carry on the conversation in the comments below the video. I always like to hear your thoughts. So as always, until, I, Alice, the Kitty Crew, you know them all, and the Princess of the House, Gracie, see y'all on that next episode and video of Mr. Tom's Neighborhood. Y'all take care, stay safe, and God bless you all as you bless those in your lives. Goodbye for now. Whew, I'm going to grab me a cold drink, and I got to sit down and plan out supper. Yep. And it won't be long for the Kitty Crews. Got to have supper too, and of course, my Princess Gracie. So I better get to it. Later, all.